Hey everybody, take a look at this saltwater aquarium setup. What is wrong with this setup? Notice the two windows on each side of the tank. Within just a few days of setting up this tank, I had neighbors asking about the blue glow that was creeping out from the windows each night. And this neighbor curiosity got even worse once I started fragging corals and visitors were randomly stopping by to purchase corals. And I kid you not, I even had one neighbor ask me what I was really actually growing and selling out of my home. But maybe you don't care about this curiosity or attention from your neighbors. Today, I want to talk about one of the most overlooked steps in setting up a new saltwater aquarium, and that is putting considerable thought into where your tank should go within your home or residence. Stay tuned, and I will touch on why windows next to a tank may not be the greatest idea. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about location. The goal is to help you make better decisions on where your saltwater aquarium should be located within your home or residence. Now, if you are in a position where your reef tank is already set up, still tune in because you may very likely have another tank in your future, perhaps an upgrade of sorts. Trust me, it happens to all of us. But if you would rather not think about setting up a new saltwater aquarium or moving an existing tank, take a look at a couple of these videos I've put together on optimizing coral growth and on getting better coral coloration. I think they offer a lot of value. I'll put the links in the description below. Now, let's get into it. Today I'm going to share with you several different locations I have either wanted to put a saltwater aquarium or where an aquarium of mine was actually located. We will touch on the pros and the cons to each location and what to watch out for. I hope what I'll share today will be helpful to you as you plan the location of your new or next saltwater aquarium. Okay, so back to this 65-gallon reef tank I had. I personally don't think reef tanks next to windows is really an ideal situation. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be done. Beyond marketing to everyone in the neighborhood your love for saltwater aquariums, there were a few other drawbacks to having the tank in this location. This particular tank ended up having more algae issues than any of my other tanks, and I think it was because it was getting a lot of light throughout most of the morning and early afternoon prior to even when my fixture would turn on, because I would schedule my fixture to come on later in the day after I got home from work. So there was a lot of algae. That's one drawback. The other drawback was at this particular home, the windows were quite old, so they were drafty, if you will. In the summer, the space was particularly warm, and in the winter, it was really, really cold. And that made it a challenge to keep the temperature of this particular tank stable. So be careful if you're planning to put your saltwater aquarium near a window. Watch out for temperature issues, marketing to neighbors what you enjoy in your free time, and algae issues. If possible, I would avoid it. However, some actually prefer tanks by windows, right? After all, why not light your tank with as much sunlight, natural sunlight, as possible? This next tank is a client's tank I maintained for a couple of years. Immediately, one of the pros for this location was clearly the floor type. The tank was sitting right on top of finished concrete, so if there was any spills, it was no problem at all. Cleanup was a breeze. Additionally, leveling the tank was also a breeze, as you didn't have to deal with carpet and some of the challenges with leveling the tank on a carpet-type floor. So in summary, your floor type is also a very important part of your decision-making process of where to set up your saltwater aquarium. If you're going to put your tank on carpet, know that the carpet will certainly get wet. Now, the con to this location for this particular tank was proximity to water. The RODI unit was actually installed about 50 plus feet down a hallway, and this made maintenance very, very challenging. And I would argue that when you choose a location for your aquarium, proximity to a water source and even a drain should be your top priority. So here's my old 50-gallon cube. What is wrong with this location when viewing this picture? And it's kind of hard to make out. And please don't make fun of my little viewing seat. This tank was actually positioned off to the side of one of our main televisions. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, maybe nothing, except for there was a constant glare of light in your face while trying to watch movies late into the evening. So when planning where to put your tank, think about the activities that will be taking place in that room. I wouldn't recommend putting a tank next to a television, although with LEDs the light spread is certainly improved, I think. Also, some tanks out there do a better job of reducing this light glare experience. For example, here's one of my old all-in-one Red Sea Max tanks. The lid unit for this tank made the light spread very, very tolerable, right? But let's not talk about the temperature issues I had with that tank. Also, think about the sounds of a reef aquarium. You may not want it in a space like a bedroom where someone has to sleep or are sensitive to sounds. Now here's a space in my current home where I really wanted to put my newest saltwater aquarium. And speaking of new reef tank builds, go check it out. It's a Sea Reefer G2. I'll put the link in the playlist or to the playlist in the description below. So what are the obvious pros to this space just by looking at it? Well, the hardwood floor is nice, right? It makes cleanup a little easier. We want to avoid carpet if we can. And as you can see, I have a nearby closet, and that is actually really, really great. When you set up a saltwater aquarium, you'll find you'll need a lot of storage space for equipment, supplies, food, fish food, etc. So I really wanted the tank here. I also wanted the tank here because it gets a fair amount of traffic from guests and company. So you have to ask yourself, is the tank you're setting up something you only want to see yourself and enjoy in a private setting, like you'd want it to be tucked away of some sort? Or would you want it out in the open and in a space where many can enjoy it? Okay, so what are the cons to this space? Well, let's take a look at the floor structure underneath where the tank would go. You'll notice a little red rectangle that I drew on this picture representing the location of where I was hoping the tank would be above the floor. So if you're planning to set up a saltwater aquarium and it's nearing, I would say, 65 gallons or above in size, I really think you need to put some considerable thought into the structure and strength of your floor. Ideally, you want to be sure that the tank is not running parallel with your floor joists so that the weight of the tank can be spread across multiple touch points or joists. This particular tank, I think it's nearing 100 gallons in total volume. I just don't think I could sleep well at night knowing that the floor structure wasn't ideal for this particular location. The joist would be running in parallel with the tank. If the room beneath your tank is unfinished and the floor joist will be running parallel with the tank, you still have some options. So here's a floor jack of mine with the 4x4 that is being used to support the floor below another one of my prior reef tanks in another home. This is something that can be done if the space below the tank is not yet finished, right? Unfortunately, in my current residence, I have since finished the basement, and I didn't reinforce the floor space. So I'm really out of luck in putting the tank in the location I was hoping to put it. So as a result of the concern I had about the floor strength and structure, here's where the tank ended up going. Yes, it's in the basement. There are some clear pros, though, to where this location is. One, it's cooler in the basement in my home, so I can better handle the heat of my old school metal halide fixture. Two, I am really, really close to a water source and a drain in this particular location, so that will make maintenance much easier. My water changes, right? And the easier the maintenance is, the more likely you're going to do it. The negatives, it's not a great space for really showing off the tank to company and guests that would frequent the main floor, right? And yes, the tank is actually on brand new carpet that will certainly get some wear and tear and definitely some water contamination and saturation at times. Another big positive to this space though is the power situation. You'll notice I have the tank in the middle of two power outlets. I did this by design as these two outlets are on different circuits. I wanted to try to do this because when you're running heaters, a controller, multiple pumps, and lots of light, it can quickly overwhelm a circuit, right? So splitting it up will definitely help you out. So you want to take this into consideration, especially if you don't want to reboot your tank every time you turn on your microwave. Now, the last thing I want to share is a word of caution. If you are setting up a reef tank or saltwater aquarium and you plan on running anything that's hang on the back, any type of hang on the back equipment, I would avoid placing the tank directly in front of an outlet, and I would also be very careful where you place any surge protectors. Water and electricity, as we all know, just don't naturally mix well, and I had to learn this lesson the hard way, unfortunately, on one of my first tanks. Here are some pictures that show this. I nearly burned down my residence when water overflowed from one of my hang-on-the-back pieces of equipment onto the surge protector. So be very, very, very careful if you have hang-on-the-back equipment, and in general, where your electricity is being positioned and placed, and where your water is circulating throughout your system. So in summary, what have we talked about with these pictures and these different scenarios? 1, don't overlook the first step in setting up your saltwater aquarium, right? And that is to put considerable thought as to where it should go. You're going to want to prioritize proximity to water, floor structure and strength, your floor type or material your floor is made out of, your power situation, temperature stability of the room, proximity to storage, activities that happen in that room, such as TV watching or sleeping, etc. And ask yourself, who are your intended viewers of this tank? Is this something that you just want to enjoy privately, or do you want to have a show tank that many people will see and there will be a lot of traffic in front of that tank? And lastly, I would personally recommend trying to avoid windows. Thanks all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Check out my other videos. I'm sharing helpful information to you all, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.